Hi everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to really express how unbelievably grateful and just really humbled and touched by...
Well, that's the voice of Cindy Seni, the Canadian-raised star of Netflix Jewish Matchmaking series. She's posted a video on her Instagram account thanking all her well-wishers for their support as she announced her engagement earlier this week. Seni is thrilled to be tying the knot, even if the man who gave her the engagement ring had absolutely nothing to do with the reality TV show. Instead, her fiancé is a tall, dark, and handsome Israeli named Eldad Cohen. She says they're about the same age, and he definitely meets her famous motto from the show of no abs, no Cindy. The two actually met last spring, right in the middle while the Jewish dating show was still being filmed. But they didn't start to get serious until the fall, long before any of the 8 episodes debuted on Netflix 2 months ago. While her fans watched Seni go out on arranged dates with a potential suitor on the show, in reality, her off-screen love life was also full of drama. And she admits she came to rely on her TV matchmaker, Aleeza Ben Shalom, to quell her doubts about whether the new relationship would finally end in marriage.
I'm the water and he's sand. So like in the ocean, like I'm turbulent and have so much energy, and he's just like the sand. But one can't live without the other, you know?
I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. Welcome to the CJN Daily, a podcast of the Canadian Jewish News, sponsored by Metropia. So Cindy Seni says she's found the man of her dreams after a previous relationship a few years ago ended with the wedding being called off. Now, Seni's actually made the announcement of this engagement on her social media account on Tuesday. But we here at the CJN Daily have known about it for a little while. In fact, she reached out to us a few days earlier to share the happy news, and she offered to do an interview right then over Zoom, and she sent photos as long as we promised to keep it all a secret from you until she made it official. So now the embargo is lifted, and here's our interview with the bride-to-be from her Jerusalem apartment. Welcome back to the CJN Daily. It's great to see you again.
So great to be back.
Yeah, it was wonderful to meet you and talk about the Jewish Matchmaking show in May when the show debuted. It's been 2 months almost to the day.
Yeah.
You reached out to me, so let's hear why.
So I actually wanted to announce to my beloved Jewish Canadian community that I've actually gotten engaged on my birthday. So about, yay, I know. I'll show you guys. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, wow. There's the ring. Let's see.
And it's, so I got engaged at the Kotel, which was our first date as well, last week. So it's very exciting.
Okay, so you got to tell the whole thing. Who, how, when, all this is going on while you were still, shilling for the show.
Yeah, it's for sure. So I was keeping a little bit of like my relationship under secret for a while. I just didn't want like the stress and the press of everything in the show to kind of have an impact on it. So, but I started dating him. His name is Eldad. I started dating him in September of last year, and we were actually introduced. I work for an organization called Brothers for Life, and as you know, and he's part of that organization. So he's one of the members. He was an injured veteran here in Israel. And that's how we met, essentially. And so our first date was at Slichot in Jerusalem, which I find very cute. I was at the Kotel, and then basically fast forward kind of all the everything. I mean, a lot of people even told me, they were like, oh, did you take advantage of all the attention you got on the show? I was like, not really. I was in a relationship this whole time. But so essentially, he proposed on my birthday. We had a really nice day. I went to the spa and all this. And I kind of had 2 proposals. So he kind of mentioned something when we were just kind of alone and whatnot, and then he took me to the Kotel, and that's when the official proposal happened.
Are you allowed to do that at the Kotel? Which side were you on?
Of course. And actually on the same day as us, some guy, like as soon as we got engaged, like some guy comes up to us and he's like, can you take a photo? And then as we take a photo of him, he proposes to his girlfriend as well. So that was really funny.
Did he know who you were? No.
No.
So he's Israeli.
Yes.
Born and bred in Israel, or he made Aliyah too?
No, he's born and bred in Israel.
All right. And how old is he?
Same age as me, so 28, 29.
Okay. And also Sephardic parents or Ashkenazi? How? Yeah.
So he's half Spanish and half Persian. So it's going to be, I actually don't have any Persian mix in my background, but it's going to be a new one that we had. But yeah, he was born in Israel. He lives in Jerusalem. And I'll send you some photos as well that you can include. So you'll be one of the first to get photos of him because nobody knows who he is.
Well, everybody thought it was Noah Del Monte, so we have to ask about that.
Everybody did think it was Noah. And I think there was something there because me and Noah do have like great chemistry. But we're just really good friends and we've always been friends and we've never dated. I was in this relationship even before I met Noah, so it was Noah's sweet, but he's younger. He's a lot younger than me, so I don't think he's looking for the same things as me.
Let's talk about the timeline, just so that I get this clear in my head. Your show dropped May 3rd. You met him already 7 months before. This is your fiancé, Eldad, and the filming was in the summer even before you met him, right? Or no?
Yes. So actually, it's interesting how we met is, the real long story, if you want it, is essentially, so we were introduced in May. So we filmed from April 2022 to July 2022. And my birthday was the last day that we filmed. So we met in May, right in the middle. It was right before my sister's wedding. And, we hadn't met face to face, but he was texting me and whatnot. And I just felt like, I don't know, I was also like dating around at the time. And I was like, I don't know, like it's taking a bit of a long time to ask me out and all these things. And I was like, I don't know. So I kind of blew him off. And I said, I have my sister's wedding. I don't have time. And he understood. And that was done. And I was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. And I started dating someone else. But then all that ended, didn't work out and all that stuff. And one day at work, about 2-3 months later, I see him because a lot of the time some of the soldiers or the brothers, they come in and they just hang out with the other brothers or they, go to physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, whatever they may do. And he was just there chilling. And I was like, oh, damn. I was like, oh no, I missed out. I was like, I shouldn't have blown him off. And essentially that's what ended up happening. So we kind of restarted talking from there. I went to Eilat for the brothers' retreat, for their healing retreat, and he was there, and we ended up talking like the whole night. And so that's how it kind of started. But essentially, I had met him before filming had ended, but we didn't start dating until much later. And
you said he was a wounded soldier too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So he was wounded while on operational duty close to Ramallah, I believe. He was stabbed, essentially, which is it's a very difficult thing to even talk about, but, and he was stabbed by a Palestinian woman, and, while on duty.
This was on the news, was it not?
Probably. It was in, July of 2015. And so it was right at the beginning of the knife intifada, before all of it kind of started. So he was one of the first, and he was like pretty unable to do a lot for about a year or something like that until, and he had, I believe, blood in his lungs or something like that. It was quite a serious injury, and it's kind of a miracle that he's alive. So it's very special. And today he loves to run. He runs like 21 kilometers, and so it's a big deal for him. And yeah, so that's kind of how he got into the organization and all that.
So he's a brother who's helping other wounded people, but he was first helped by the organization personally himself, or no?
Yes. So at the beginning, he was just helped personally himself. Now he doesn't work for the organization. He has his own job, but he's still a member.
Like a volunteer.
Something like that.
What does he do for a living?
He works in a sort of government position, and he also studies marketing.
Okay. And as far as the religiosity, that was a lot of, first of all, that's important to you. How has that worked out in terms of, are you on the same level?
Pretty much the same. He's a tiny little bit more religious than me, but it's something that we kind of worked out at the beginning. He found out that, we were kind of on the same level eventually. At the beginning, he was a little worried, but keeps Shabbat, keeps kosher, does all the good stuff. So I'm happy, wears this to fill in. So I'm quite happy about that.
And does he have hot abs? Because that was a thing on,
Let's just say I have nothing to complain about.
You mentioned you were fixed up, or you were introduced.
We were introduced, yes.
And what did you learn, or how did being on the show, if at all, help you, guide you to be now engaged? So
I would say when I first started dating him, I stayed in contact with Aleeza I still am, but I stayed with her when I was through the dating process. And right before him, I had called Aleeza about some guy I was dating, and he wasn't religious at all. And she was like, listen, I told her, I don't think I can do this. And she was like, if you're 100% sure. So, we kind of got rid of that one. And then I started dating Eldad, and I called her at one point, and I was like, listen, I don't know if it can continue or not at this point, because we're very different. We're the opposite in every shape, way, and form. He's very quiet, and he doesn't like attention, and he's an introvert, and I'm like fireworks in July. And so I remember telling Aleeza, I said, we're very different. And I feel like sometimes I can't, he doesn't speak French, and he hasn't studied like French literature and philosophy and all these things. He's like an Israeli. He's like a great-hearted Israeli. And I remember she told me, she was like, do you need that from him specifically, from a partner, or can you find that somewhere else? And she was like, if you can find that somewhere else, are you okay with just being able to sit silently in a room with him if he doesn't talk so much? And I remember, and she was like, let's wait a little bit. Let's think about this, because it seems that you really care about him, and it seems that, there's something there, but maybe you guys just need to adjust to each other's spaces. And so I said, okay, let's keep going for a bit. And once and that kind of resonated with me, the way that she said that, do you really need it from a partner, or can I get it from someone else? Because in the end I was like, yeah, I can, talk to my sisters about that, or my friends, or whatever. I don't need to necessarily speak about like Voltaire and Alexandre Dumas and all these different people, I don't need to. And then much down the line, I told him this story, and he was like, why not? He's like, why can't you speak to me about philosophy? So I think sometimes at the beginning, there's just a lot of, it's very like unclear, and we don't really know, like yes or no. We try to find sometimes excuses, but definitely at the beginning, Aleeza really helped me, I think, to just she was like, let's just keep seeing until you can't take it anymore, type thing. Like if it really, really bothers you, and if it does, like if you keep calling me about it, then that's when we'll do something. And I didn't, and it didn't bother me. So
you speak English or Hebrew, or a mixture?
A mix. We speak a mix of Hebrew and English together.
Okay. And so have the families met yet? And then has that happened?
The families have not met. I've met his family. He's met mine. My family's still in Canada, so it's a little difficult. They'll probably meet at the engagement party or something like that. But he also has a big family. He comes from a religious family. So he has 6 brothers and sisters and already 10 nephews. Thank God. Versus me is much smaller.
That's amazing. And why did you guys decide to announce it? Like, why go this way?
Honestly, at this point, I feel like people are so invested and genuinely invested in my love life. And I see it, I walk down the street in Jerusalem and people are like, have you found someone? Like, or, what's going on? And I'm just like, okay, I need to give back a little bit. And I've seen it also when I posted a photo of him holding my hand, and people were going crazy. They were like, who is he? What's going on? And so I just feel like I need to, at this point, it's not just my story. It's like everyone is involved and it's everyone's story. And some people might be not coming from honest, intentions, but I think most people are, and most people genuinely want me to find someone nice. And so I was like, let's just go big or go home.
what are you going to be doing? Is there a season 2? People probably want to know, is this all going to be filmed? Is it on, or this is private?
I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. I know there hasn't been any sort of announcements from Netflix yet. Don't know if that's a good sign or not, to be honest. Just from, I again have no idea, but I don't know. Just from my personal thoughts, I don't think so. I would love for my followers to harass Netflix a little bit to get them to film my big fat Sephardic wedding. I think that would be absolutely, and that, because that was when we first talked about it with the producers, when we were talking about it season 2, I was very sure there was going to be a wedding and it was going to be mine. And I said, we'll film our wedding in season 2. And they were like, yeah, of course. Like, that's definitely going to happen if there is a season 2. Now I'm not sure, but hopefully we'll, maybe we can petition them a little bit.
And how is he with all this? You said he's quiet and doesn't like attention. So how is he with all this stuff about his famous fiancé and being, now, of course, you're going to put him on your Instagram. So how does he do? Is he ready for this?
I don't think so. He's very funny. He's like, I remember when everything was happening, and when I told him, if there's going to be a season 2, you're going to be on it. He was like, no, let them cast someone else. And I'll just be in the back watching. He doesn't like attention at all. He doesn't like filming. He doesn't like any of that stuff. But he's been very supportive about letting me have that space and letting me have that, knowing that it's important for me to post about these things. So he allows me to do it, which is really nice. And I asked him before calling you, I was like, what can I say? And, can I post about it? And he was like, just do whatever you want. It's fine. He basically doesn't want me to ask him to like have an Instagram and start posting.
Oh, he doesn't? He's not on social media?
No, he's not on social media.
I was going to say, because wait till people start stalking him. He's going to have a zillion people camping at his doorstep, right?
Yeah, no, he doesn't have social media. He doesn't even know how to use it.
He's tall? Taller than you?
He is tall. He's taller than me. Mm-hmm. Tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah, I was about to say, now, Israeli guys, you always say they were only looking for the short term because of the way the matzav is and how. So how did this one turn different? Manishtana, why was this one different?
It's a good question. I think he's got a very good education. He comes from quite a religious family, a very serious family. And I think also, to be honest, his injury really propelled him to become a different person. So since his injury, he's obviously more quiet and prioritizes what's important in his life more. And it's shown him, as well as most of the brothers that I work with, that, they're all of them are engaged, all of them are married, and they just don't waste their time because they know that, life is very short and they don't have any time to waste. So him, I think that plus being a little bit more religious, he was just looking, and he's not like, he's not, he doesn't have like the Israeli charm where they can charm their way through anything, and so that means all these different types of women, and he's just like very to the point and just very serious, and I think it might scare a few women, but for me that's exactly what I was looking for, because I love scaring guys on first dates. Which, by the way, I asked him, I was like, did I scare you on the first date? And he was like, no, why would you? That's a good sign.
Right. So, you always said there's only room for one diva, or your sister said there's only room for one diva in the relationship. So that's what you got, right? You can be in the front and he can be in the back when things collapse and you come home and he's like the calm one. Now, you told me what his last name is?
Cohen. He's a Cohen.
Eldad Cohen. Awesome. Oh, my goodness. So there's an engagement. Is there a date for a wedding? Do we have a party date? All that stuff.
We are thinking about November, December. We don't have a date yet because it's so new. But, short engagement, that's the way to go for me. I'm already getting a tiny bit bridezilla. So I have to just, I have to deal with that.
The wedding will be in Israel, I assume?
I wanted a destination wedding, but he's very Israeli, so I don't think that's going to happen.
And there's how many couples now from Netflix season 1 that are actually either engaged or married? I know that there's a couple, but I don't remember the names, all of them. So there's...
Yeah, I think Shaya, who was dating Faye, is engaged to someone else. Now me, I believe I'm the second one. But first one of main cast. And I don't believe anyone else is in a relationship from what I know. From what I know.
Have you told any of them yet? Or Aleeza knows, but does anyone else know? Or you're going to...
No one knows. No. I told Noah. He was very happy for me. But the rest don't know. It's going to be a surprise.
That is super amazing. I'm so happy for you.
You'll have to come to the wedding.
Oh my God, I would love to come. I mean, you barely know me, but
I would love to have you. I think that would be so fun.
It would be an honor.
At this point, we're friends.
I really appreciate that. I feel like your mom, but I'm not. But I'm like your, vicarious mom. So
my parents were like little, my mom was like a chicken when they cut off their head and they keep running. That was her.
Yeah, but they knew him already, or you had.
But they weren't expecting it. I mean, none of us. I kind of knew. I had the urge to do my nails that morning. I was like, I feel like something's coming. But he was so chill about it. Like he was so relaxed. He even asked me, he's like, "You want to go to the kotel?" And I was like, "Not really." He's like, "Okay," wasn't stressed that I said no, like nothing. It was so I was like, definitely not. It's not going to happen. And then he really did take me by surprise, to be honest.
Did he have the ring already or you picked it?
No, he had the ring already. He asked my sister about what type I liked.
So the whole family knew except you.
Just my sister knew, the one that you saw on the show. And she told him my size and what I liked. So, and then she didn't tell anyone else. So I had surprised my parents and that was that.
Did you FaceTime them from the kotel?
I did. Which is very special.
That's great news. And now you have to do the whole wedding planner.
I know.
It's a whole show by itself. You could make like another spinoff,
I definitely could.
Thanks so much, Cindy. It's really been an honor to watch you on this journey, and I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And that's what Jewish Canada sounds like for this episode of the CJN Daily, sponsored by Metropia. Integrity, community, quality, and customer care. Today's listener shout-out goes to Marvin Shaheen of Montreal. And we'll end with a reminder that if you like what you hear on the CJN Daily, please share the podcast with your friends and family. We tackle topics that you won't find covered quite the same way anywhere else. And now with Facebook already blocking our stories on their platforms in Canada, you won't be able to see them as easily. So it's more important than ever that you subscribe and you get others to subscribe. It's all free. You should sign up for our email newsletter too. Then you'll get the stories and the podcast directly in your inbox. Have a good weekend. Thanks for listening to the CJN Daily, and we'll be back on Monday.